right, here we go. What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune in and check out the content. Got my man Tunk in here with me today, and yeah, Tunk. So we was talking about what's the Ja Morant, right?
Yeah.
And so with Ja Morant, you know, like they suspended him. Conduct, what was it called? Conduct detrimental to the team.
Yep.
So what basically what he did was he called out a coach. He called out the coach, you know. And I had said, you know, probably like a year ago, that I thought it was time for Memphis to move off of Ja Morant. Not that he's not, you know, he's must-see TV, a very exciting player to watch. But it depends on what you're trying to do as an organization, right? Like, are you just trying to put butts in the seat, or are you trying to just win?
Right.
You know what I mean? So is he good for putting butts in the seat? But
definitely,
yeah, half of the game, like the games that he missed, they had the same winning percentage, like whether he played or not.
Play well. Yeah, they play well. Yeah, without him, you know.
Yeah. So if you're just trying to put butts in the seat and he's playing, you know, you're getting the same result with him that you are without him, then, like, you know, it might be the upside might not be enough for you to hold on to him.
Right. It's what's the name, man. We also spoke on it one time. He was rated ahead of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, at one time he's pushing him like the face of the league. Mm-hmm. And look what Shai just did. He won MVP, just won a championship, just won Finals MVP.
Right.
You know, and you know, these guys one of the best players in the league. And you talking about just 3 short years ago, that's what everybody thought Ja would be able to do. You know, he thought he was on that same pathway. And then, you know, with the off-court stuff and things like that, you know, word coming out that he has a bad attitude. Now, whether that's true or not, it's easy to believe. Whether it's true or not, it's easy to believe. So you can throw that out there and people will run with it. And you're right. You see, you've been on that Ja need to, you know, break up with Memphis, so to speak. I'm late to the party on that. But right now, I think it might be. I was a little late to the party on that. But right now, man, it might be best for both parties. It might be better for Memphis and you know, and Ja. Yeah.
And I thought that if they had did it earlier in his career, that might have helped him to turn it around faster. You know what I mean? Because if you allow this behavior to go throughout his career, the longer you let it go, the less likely he is to change.
Right.
Now he's to the point now where he think he can call out the coaches, ownership. You know what I mean? So. You know, and they send him somewhere to let him play somewhere where they're not trying to win, and he, you know, then he'll probably see that situation a little bit different.
Yeah. You know? and another thing is, you know, we seen the change, Mike. Like with today's athletes, we seen the change. Boy, there he is.
What's up, fellas?
Boy, yeah.
Good.
How y'all doing? Good.
Back from the Himalayas. You know good to see you, bro. Good to see you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But you know, now that thing with coaching now, Mike, is almost like they put coaches in a position where they're afraid to challenge the star players. You know what I'm saying? Like they're almost afraid to challenge them, man, because the star player always gonna get the nod. Always. This goes back to the beginning, you know what I'm saying? But they always gonna get the nod over the coach. And sometimes, man, these coaches, they be scared, you know what I mean, to push these players, confront them, hold them accountable, because they know front office, you know, management, ownership is gonna side with the player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, Clayton, we talking about Ja Morant, right?
Uh-huh.
You know, he just got suspended. He
again?
He got suspended.
Full game. Yeah.
Oh, how many games was it?
Wow.
Oh, 4 games. He got suspended 4 games.
Yeah, just one.
Conduct detrimental to the team.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was after the game, you know how they do their little press conferences. He did. He basically tried to call out the coach. And
Really?
so when he called the coach out, you know, I guess like they took offense to that. You know, he was saying that you know, his performance, he was trying to blame his poor performance basically on his coach. So I just think it's time for him to get away, you know, from that team.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not me, is it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that's me, brother.
Oh,
Taking extra calls today, man. I'm getting extra calls today. People checking in on me, man. People checking on me. Yeah.
So they suspended him for calling his coach out, huh?
Yeah.
They say I didn't see the highlight. I think it was against the Lakers. It was the Lakers or the Clippers they was playing against, and they was saying he was real dismissive of the coach. Well, they say, you know, during the game, they say one of the timeouts, the coach supposed to said something to him. He, you know what I mean, supposed to said something back or whatever, real dismissive type fashion or whatever. And then post game, they was asking him certain stuff. He was like, ask them, talking about the coach. Like, well, he wasn't in the game, ask them. You know, yeah. So they suspended him for a game conduct and detrimental.
So how y'all feel about it?
That's what we was talking about. That's just what we was talking about before you jumped in. We was like, man, it might be a time, you know, Memphis might need to move on. Yeah, they might need to move on. For both parties, it might be best for both parties, Ja and the team.
That reminds me of AI and Larry Brown a little bit. When Larry Brown asked the GM trade his ass tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then at the same token, Allen Iverson was saying fire his ass.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't do either. They sat him down and they had a conversation. But it reminds me of that situation a little bit. But at the end of the day, Larry Brown ended up stepping away from the situation. So,
and I think you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Clayton. The only difference I think that Larry Brown, you know, everybody know Larry Brown was a great coach, but I think Larry Brown had a little bit more weight. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to whoever the coach is that's coaching Memphis. I don't even know who the coach is down there, but I think Larry Brown carried a little bit more weight in that situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he had more cachet.
Exactly.
But the team didn't move off AI per his request.
They did. Yeah.
And I think another difference to that situation is now sometimes Ja Morant, they say take plays off and he don't play hard. Now, whether that's true or not, I'm not gonna comment on that, right? But you never heard anybody say that about Allen Iverson.
Never.
So you have a coach and Larry Brown, like you say, he got all the cachet, deservedly so, and you got a player, Allen Iverson, who you know where his heart is at. You know, nobody's questioning Allen Iverson's you know, his hustle and his drive. So you know, so that worked in Allen out. If it had been anybody else, Larry Brown would have been able to get him out of there.
I agree.
Probably. Yeah. I thought Philly GM did a great job too, because he presented Larry Brown with something that Larry Brown never considered. But he also he presented AI with something that AI never considered. He was like, put yourself in Larry's shoes, you know, and you telling the guy come to the bench and he's saying what he's saying. And then he told Larry, he said, you telling him sit down and shit like that. It's like those white officers locking him up. So he brought that up to Larry Brown. Larry Brown had to look at it from a different perspective, but it made AI get up and walk around the table and hug Larry Brown, you know, and that's when they started building their relationship. But yeah, I don't know if Memphis loved Ja Morant like Philly loved AI either.
Right.
That's a good point. That's a good point, man. And Mike was speaking about you know, the media controlling the narrative, right? And we don't know, we're not down there, but we don't know how he's being portrayed, you know what I'm saying, in the local media down there, you know, the local newspapers and things like that, how local reporters portray him. We don't know, you know what I'm saying? So that could play a big part in it as well, to what you're saying, Clayton. That's a good point. Damn,
I didn't even know. I haven't been keeping. The only thing I know is the Lakers been kicking ass. Is that true?
Yeah, I think that's the win. Yeah, man. Dude had 50 one time. What's his name? Austin Reeves. He had a 50-point game.
Wow.
Yeah, a 50-point game, a 40-point game.
Yeah. And all I've been keeping up with was that alien man in San Antonio.
Oh
man.
my goodness, man! Goddamn Wemby. Listen, fellas. I gotta say this. A while back, we were saying that we seen this before in Ralph Sampson.
Yeah.
And that first game of the season I watched.
Right.
I ain't seen Ralph do no shit like that.
No.
No.
I ain't think nobody do that.
No.
I ain't think nobody do that.
Big man took him out of the circle, was dancing on him, and oh goodness, man.
That's crazy, man. Hey, if this dude can stay healthy, you know, and that's you know, you want him to stay healthy, man. You know what I mean? Because it seems like when guys that tall and stuff like that, they be having you know what I mean, ankle injuries or knees and Achilles and things. If he can stay away from that, man, this guy, man, he's gonna be a problem. He's a problem now.
He's a problem now.
Yeah, he's a problem now.
He's a problem.
Yeah. And I just look at, man, if I was like a teammate playing with him, man, I'm playing with a guy like that, man. I was playing with a guy like that. Yeah.
But my thing about that situation right now, I think just like when Kareem came, remember, like the league made an adjustment to Kareem. That's when they said, you know, you the biggest thing out there on the court, you can't dunk no more, right?
Yeah.
They took away the dunk from Kareem. And
was that in college? That was in college, right?
I was in college.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So look, when they took the dunk away from him and they adjusted to him, I think the NBA is going to adjust to Wemby, right? And the way I see them adjusting to him is they're going to have to bring that power forward position back, whereas though they're going to make the game more physical. Right now, Wemby is playing against, like, there are no true centers in the league, like traditional, like the way we know, like traditionally where the centers were, and that power forward position is a lot different than it was back in the day. So now, I think once you get physical with him, with those two positions, you bring that forward and those centers back. I think the NBA is like, it's like a cycle, like things go around. And I think, and so also you see that mid-range game coming back with the kid, what's his name? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You know, so I think the NBA is in a cycle, and I think that cycle is coming back through as far as like the style of play.
Let me say, I don't think that. Then you're gonna try to get physical with Wemby. I think that's the only answer you got now is try to be physical with him and stuff like that. But Mike, the power forward that we grew up watching, the Buck Williams and them type, I don't think they would affect Wemby now.
Kevin Willis.
I don't think, Kevin Willis and them, they would affect them if he trying to post up. Right? If he want to get down on that block, they can push him out, but he's fine. He's fine 20 feet away from the basket. He's all right out there. So you get you get the Kevin Willis, you know what I'm saying, the Buck Williams, you know, you get them type guys back in the fold. And like if Wemby want to play a back to the basket game, they you know, they could you know, affect this game. But Wemby is all right 20, 25 feet away. You know what I mean? So, and they wouldn't be able to stay with him out there. Those type of, you know, if you reincarnated a Buck Williams or Kevin Williams, they wouldn't be able to stop him. You know what I'm saying? The way Wemby plays the game. Yeah, man. Yeah, but it's interesting. It's interesting.
Now, and Wemby is playing 75% more. He's playing a lot more closer to the basket than he was last year.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Yeah, so he's playing a lot closer to the basket than he was last year. And so that's the thing. If you physical with him, and I would prefer to have him play further away from the basket, just because of the shooting percentage going to go down the further away you play from the basket. So I want him to play further away from the basket. Also, I want him to, at 7 feet 5 inches tall, I want him to have to put that ball on the floor and make plays from out there, from the key, you know what I mean, from the top of the key. At 7 feet, look at how Magic had to dribble the ball when he came down court at 6. What Magic? 6'10"?
6'9", 6'10". Yeah, 6'9".
Magic always had to dribble like with his body in between him and the defender, unless they was on a break. He coming downhill, right? So, like I said, if you got to push him away from that basket, that's where I want him away from that basket. They did the same thing to Ralph Sampson. Ralph Sampson was 7'4", you know. You push him from under that basket. You push him from under
I
that
hear
bag.
you. I hear you. But he going around you, Mike.
Right.
He's going around. He taking you to the basket, bro. Huh?
He can go around you, right? That's what I'm saying. If he can go around you at 7 feet 5 inches, if he put that ball on the floor, if he dribbled more than twice, mark my words, he dribbled more than twice coming through traffic like that. Even as a guard, you know.
Have you seen him handle the ball, Mike?
I'm about to say, Mike, he done dribbled and
Have you seen him handle the ball?
behind the back, through the legs, spin moves, man. He got Mike. He
handled the ball like a god, like really. It's really, really good. It's really good.
It is, Mike. It is. Man.
It's really good.
Yeah, it really is.
Man. It really is, man. That'll be a challenge, man. Them big guys force them out.
Easy.
Huh?
I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I think if I'm coaching, I want him out there trying to make plays. Then on top of that, you make him a passer, you know, at 7 feet 5 inches tall. Yeah, I want him to be a passer. I want him to have to make plays away from that basket.
And that's a good point that you make. See, Magic, right? The way, because Magic had to facilitate. So Magic is bringing the ball up. He's looking to get guys, you know, touches in their spots, things like that. Wemby, hey, do what you want out there. So so he's almost always in attack mode. You know, he's almost always in attack mode. And man, they showed him one time, man, playing a two-man game. They got another 7-footer on the team. Another big 7-footer, might be 7'1", something like that. Him and Wemby won in the two-man game. They won in the two-man game to screen and roll outside. And you know, give and go with him. You give it up and move. You throw it to the sky. He just go up there and get it, man. The guy gonna be, hey man, he gonna be tough, man. I ain't gonna say they're not gonna adjust to him, but I
used to always say a big man wasn't exciting to watch. He was great, but he was fundamentally sound and everything, but it wasn't fun to watch. This cat is fun to watch. He doing things, man. He doing things. It's just incredible, man. It really is. I mean,
when they Zion ducked on him. I don't know if y'all saw that.
Yeah, Zion got him. I did see that. Zion got him.
And then Zion, next 3 shots, he blocked.
He blocked them.
Yeah, 3 shots, he blocked them. So, you know what I mean? So he's not somebody that he's going to shy away from that.
Nope.
Not somebody that's going to shy away from that, man. So,
and let's keep this in mind, a little caveat. This offseason, he worked with Dream.
Yeah.
Akeem Olajuwon worked with him all offseason.
Yeah. Now look, that I think, we all think that's good for his game, right?
Yeah.
We all think that.
Yeah.
Now, I was watching the episode of Gil, right? Gil say, I don't know if it was Gil. Somebody on his panel was saying that Olajuwon teaching guys moves today is not, you can't use them in the game today, in other words. Like, because the way the game was when Olajuwon played, and even when Kobe went down there, the game was played different. So the way Olajuwon is showing you how to play and the footwork and stuff like that, you can't implement it like you used to 30 years ago or whatever. What y'all think about that?
Well, I'm going to take Olajuwon's words, because they interviewed Olajuwon about working with Wemby. And the first thing he asked Wemby was like, what else do you need in your game? You got everything. And Wemby was telling him what he wanted to do. And Olajuwon made the statement that he was one of the first big men to face the basket and play from the outside and stuff. So I think there's a lot there in terms of that, you know, just bringing the big guys out. Well, he said, because Patrick and them was physical, so he would bring them out and play. And I just think the fundamentals, the footwork and these things, it never goes out of style. You know, if you get the right fundamentals, that applies to any time, anytime, any age, you know, during any age of basketball.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that if the league adjusts to him and then he has footwork down there, what can you do with, you know what I mean? Like, it's easy to, like, if take a big man that don't have no skill, he just just tall. All right, so you make him do something that's that's uncomfortable for his game, and so if this guy got footwork, and then you asking him to play with his back to the basket, he can pivot off any foot. Yep. He can fade left, fade right. He can spin move. That's crazy. And then on top of that, he's 7'5", so he's 7'5", right? And you can't really affect his shot. He's 7'5", right. And he got footwork,
right?
I'm surprised that somebody who played basketball made that statement.
That just goes, man. It just drives home the point, man, that just the lack of respect for prior generations, man. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. It's just a lack of respect, lack of appreciation from prior generations, man. And
right.
I see a lot of it. I see a lot of it, and different forms of fashion. But that's what it comes down to, man. They never respect the guys that came before them.
And I don't know who said it on Gil's podcast. You don't know who said it, Tom, but if you look at some of them guys comprised on that podcast, I don't really remember any of them being such a student of the game that they seeked out help, mentorship. They wanted to learn the little nuance and tricks. Like I remember Kobe asking Mike, "What do I do with my legs?" And Mike was telling them little key things. I don't know any of those guys ever approaching the game that way. So to me, their opinion of it isn't as valid, I think,
No, that's 100% right. No, that's 100% right. And that goes to show I know it all. That's one of them. I know it all. I don't need nobody telling me how to play my game and stuff like that. You're right. And I remember when Kobe said, Mike, and Mike said,
use your legs to feel the defender.
That's how you create your space with your legs.
Yeah. And so let me see. Lord Basketball, fantastic. Welcome to the podcast. He says, how LeBron James worked with Dream and didn't improve. I'm confused, right? And see, what people don't like, footwork is not easy. It's almost like dancing. Like some people just have a knack for it, there's different levels to it. Like you can get like a basic drop step. A basic drop step is not really all that difficult, right? But if you look at Mike footwork, Akeem footwork, Kobe footwork, that's they can stand in a circle and create space, you know what I mean? Just off of their pivot to the left or pivot to the right, and just create space like that to get their shot off. Everybody can't conceive of that and do that, right? So,
and LeBron game, I'm sorry cutting you off, Mike. But LeBron game is not a post game though.
No.
His game is not back to the basket. You know what I'm saying? So maybe he thought, he would start doing more of that when he started working with Keem, or he just wanted to add, some type of weapon in his arsenal, whatever. But that's not his game. He never.
I think LeBron did show improvement in terms of that. It might not have been a go-to, but he started putting his back to the basket, trying to do the turnaround and stuff like that. So just regardless of what we think of his career overall, I thought he showed improvement over time with some of his skill and some of his footwork a little bit.
I agree with that, but he wasn't going to be back to the basket happy.
No.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I think, but what you said though, Clay, with the go-to, and I think that's what makes that's important. What a lot of people don't get about basketball is that go-to move, that signature move that a player has. They can make that shot in their sleep. So when you're talking about you playing the last 2 minutes of a game, or you playing in an overtime and you need baskets every time because y'all going basket for basket. Kareem, that's what the sky hook was all about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Once Kareem got that ball on the block, it was automatic. Once Kobe get the ball in his sweet spot, it's automatic. Same thing with dudes like Bernard King. Like once a dude is like that and they got that go-to move, it's crazy. Like that basket is second nature. Is automatic.
Yeah, I remember Bernard King saying one time, I saw an interview with him, and he was saying it's 9 spots on the court. 9 spots. If he get the ball there, it's over. Ain't nothing you can do. Yeah, ain't nothing you can do. If you get the ball in one of them 9 spots, it's over with. You know what I mean? You just gotta hope you miss. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta hope you miss. Yeah.
That's crazy to have that many spots.
That many spots.
I was about to say that. That's a whole bunch of spots.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Most people have about 2, you know what I mean, or 3.
Yeah.
Or some people might have 1, you know what I mean. Right. But man, the 9 spots, that's a lot.
Right. Hey, what said, Dominique said, man, he used to, when he played Bernard, man, he used to try to get Bernard at half court. He would try to check him half court. You know what I'm saying? Make him work to get the ball. You know what I mean? Make him work to handle it, things like that.
Yeah.
And, but he said, man, because he said it was crazy. He said it was crazy.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Now, Mike, right? You was talking about Kyrie at one time. Go back to that. You touched on it, then you kind of like went away from it. You were saying about Kyrie and how how grounded he is and things like that.
Yeah.
And so, we were comparing that to Ja, I think, at the moment.
Right. And so that kind of goes into like my topic for the day, right? Because Michael Jordan he came out, made a statement about load management.
Yeah.
And and so I think all of this stuff when it comes to load management, player empowerment, I think this was all orchestrated, right? And the way you can orchestrate stuff like this and be able to get away with it is you can do that with people that don't control their own image. I mean, that don't control like the narrative that's out there about them, because you're playing in somebody else's league, somebody else's platform. So that allows them to build you up. And then after they get finished building you up, they can tear you down. And then you really can't do anything about it because you don't have, although you have social media, these big powerhouses as far as like the media and the NBA and stuff, they can really do what they want to do as far as putting a narrative out there about you, right? And so I said about Kyrie Irving, he was always, not just Kyrie Irving, it was Kyrie Irving and Jaylen Brown. They was always conscious of their public image and what's being said about them publicly, because they know how important it is to control your own, the narrative about yourself. And that's why I think, like, even though I'm not like really a big fan of LeBron James, I think like he's the victim of being like piled on. Like it's right now, it's like it's low hanging fruit. You know what I mean? Like everybody can say, well, LeBron brought his son in, LeBron did this, he got the coach hired. All right, cool. We know that. But had he been able to have like some type of self-awareness, like what I think like Ja Morant had, like somebody like when we talk about Ja Morant, Ja's father should have told him, you are a reflection of your family. So the things that you do off the court, the things that you do in public is a reflection of the family, right? And even when you go into the NBA, you got to think about, just because you can do certain things, people tell you, well, you got power, you have player empowerment, you can move freely throughout the league and do what you want to do. Even though you had those options, that's not saying that those options are good for you. And then later on, we can use the fact that you exercise those options. We can use that to bring you down, or really just paint you in a negative light. And so when you talk about player empowerment, giving somebody like, first of all, if somebody got to give you power, then you got to question if you really have it. Because if they give you power, then they can basically take it back from you.
That's right. They can take it away.
That's player empowerment, right? And then so, and I think that Kevin Durant and LeBron James kind of fell for that a little bit. And then now in the end of their career, it's coming back to bite them. That's basically what I was saying about the, Kyrie Irving, not so much. Jaylen Brown, not so much. You know what I mean?
Because in a sense, with Kyrie, I don't think he ever sought other people's approval, or he ever, clamored for that, you know what I'm saying? their applause and things like that. He always came across as being his own man. He's gonna make his own decisions. You know, he's not gonna be influenced by this, that, and the other. He's always seemed to be on the square. He never somebody who shuck and jive and he got to explain what he does, things like that. I always liked Kyrie because of that, man. That always, because, you know, I was a fan of his, not only because he's a ball player, but because of the man that he is, you know, and the things that he do. He don't do it for applause or pats on the back. You know what I mean? He do it because as a man, that's what I'm gonna do, and I don't need to explain it. You know,
right.
And
so,
then,
I'm saying, and look at Kyrie Irving, and you look at Jaylen Brown, and you look at the things that those two men, they have in common. Kyrie Irving, his father is a big influence in his life.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Jaylen Brown always speak about his father and his uncle. You know what I mean? And the influence they have in his life.
That's right.
You know, and so we just got through talking about Ja Morant, like how his father wants to be more so a fan than a father.
Yeah.
You know, the father, first thing a father gonna tell you, like, ain't no free lunches.
Yeah.
You know, so why is this person allowing you or giving you certain amount of leeway or telling you that you are empowered and stuff like that? You know what I mean? Like a father gonna call that out.
Exactly.
You know, more
every time. You know what I mean? You gotta stay. Yeah. You gotta stay his father, even after all the superstardom and all that coming, the bright lights. You gotta stay his father. You can't turn into a friend. You can't turn to a homeboy. You can't turn to one of his party buddies. You gotta stay his father. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah. So
now going back to Mike. Hey, Click, did you want to add something to that?
No, I'm just listening.
So look, right, when Mike talking about that player management, load management. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Carmelo said that some players need that load management because, you know, they might have injuries, you know, like a Kawhi, like a Paul George,
or Tracy McGrady,
like an MB, like a Tracy McGrady, right? And he say some guys don't, but how do you differentiate from the guys who need that load management and that, you know, for the players that don't need it? But take advantage of it, you know what I'm saying?
You know, I'm surprised that because Carmelo Anthony, you know, he has he hang out with Mike from time to time, and Mike he's definitely influenced by Mike, right? So I was kind of surprised he made that statement. Like, the way I look at that is, when you look at Grant Hill's career, Grant Hill, he stayed injured for a good part of his career. Like, when he was right, he was right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, Grant gave Mike the blues, he gave Scotty the blues too. You know what I mean? He was right. But that's not to say that, like, the NBA or Detroit or wherever he played at was because they should have made special concessions for him. You allow him to do what he's capable of doing until he's no longer capable of doing it. You know, that's just like somebody said, Larry Bird played for 13 years. Would you have wanted Larry Bird to load manage and play 16 years so you can get to see Larry Bird more? And I would say no, you know what I mean? Because of what we got from him in the 13 years that he played, he left everything on the court.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't want somebody out there pacing himself for a 20-year career. You know, Mike played 15, Larry played 13. I think Isaiah played 12. And what you got from Isaiah in that 12 years, you'd be like, I appreciate that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
What if Isaiah played for 24 years?
Right.
You know,
right.
It wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah, he'd be Van Vliet. You know what I'm saying? He'd be Van Vliet.
I don't know.
You know what
I don't know, because those guys are such competitive. Even if especially Larry Bird dealing with his back stuff, that was a legitimate thing.
Right.
So if you rest him, you save him, when he play, he's gonna play. He's gonna leave it all out there. That's just his nature. So to say if we got more, it wouldn't have been the same. I don't know if Larry Bird know how to play any other way.
And that's my
just
point.
One way.
That back injury was legit too. That was a legit.
Yeah, that was legit.
Yeah, legit career. Also, yeah, man. Yeah.
So and that's assuming that everybody who say that they have an injury is legit. So I'm taking that even off the. If you say you injured. You know what I mean. But if you just load managing, like Mike said, if you can play, then you should be out there on the court.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
You know.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't feel like being on the court now that questions your your desire to be a basketball player.
You know,
right.
And another thing that Melo was saying, which is a legitimate question. Like, so how if you're letting some load management because they legitimately have an injury or have issues that linger, never seems to get better. But then you have a guy that like, man, no, I don't want to play back-to-backs, or I think the NBA didn't went away from a lot of back-to-backs. But you know what I'm saying. You know, like you got players, no, I don't feel like playing this game. So how do you differentiate that? How do you separate that?
Well, the NBA tried because they put stipulation on the awards at the end of the year. Yeah. You had to play a certain amount of games to even qualify for certain awards. So now it just comes down to the players and what they really want from their careers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's right.
That was one way they approached it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And what you think about that rule?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. It gives anything that offers some incentive to play, but I'm thinking it's a sad state if you have to implement that because these guys obviously don't have it in them. So even if you put this stuff out there, it's about their nature and what's in them, you know. So
see, that's why I said, like, all right, like with football and basketball used to be the same way. People wanted to play hurt because they knew that they was always auditioning for a job. You know what I mean? In football, like dudes used to get concussions before the concussion protocol. They'll get concussions. You'll come to the sideline. They'll say, how many fingers I got up? And they always held the same amount of fingers up every time. And you just go right back out there on the field, right? Because you knew there was next man up. You wasn't going to be out there. And basketball can be the same way. You don't have to have incentive. Dudes just like when we was kids, we wanted to play. You know what I mean? Like you just wanted to play because you love the sport. And that's how you weed out. And that's how you get somebody like a Kobe or a Bird, or you know what I mean? That's how you get to those type of performances, because those guys is going to rise to the top. You know, you don't have to tell Larry Bird, if you play 60 games, you qualify for this. The conversation is it's unnecessary.
What's the name is out again? Anthony Davis is out again.
Who?
Anthony Davis.
Yeah, he got hurt.
Oh, yeah.
This sounds cliche, but some of these guys legitimately put themselves on the line for their teammates. Some of these people really build these kind of relationships with their team, and it ain't even about becoming MVP or qualifying. Some of this is, I got to be out there for the guy beside me. You know, it sounds like it's ideal, but some people really are like that, and they buy into that.
I agree with that, but I believe it's less players like that now than what it once was.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying? I think it's less. I think it's still players like that, but I just think it's less than what it once was. And you can say that's, you know, and then the education of today's athlete, I think, as far as the business part of it, they're more in tune with the business side of it, it seems, than it was in players in yesteryear. And I look at that way as though players are not going to risk, you know, maybe like a career injury or even a season injury because it's going to affect my next contract or things like that. So some players, not all, Clayton, speaking to what you just said, some players like, no, I'm not going to go out there if I'm not 100%, because when it's time for me to become a free agent, they'll use that against me. Well, your numbers went down and, you know, your rating fell off. But you'll say, well, man, I was out there giving it my all, you know what I mean, for the team. But then look at, well, your numbers, you know what I mean? You averaged 20 this season. This season, you only averaged 16. So it looked like you're declining. Don't look like, you know what I mean? So I think a lot of players are more so in tune with that part of it, and seeing how management and ownership use that against them.
Right.
So yeah, so some players like, nah, man, I'm not going out there if I'm not 100%.
And I think it's a league-wide consensus. These players are down for each other. So if you want to load manage, they more so riding with you because of what you speaking about, Tom.
Yep.
You know, it's become players against ownership, and we got to stick together. So they're not even calling on their brethren to really fight like that. They real so do what you got to do, bro. I'm with you. I'm not counting your pocket. I ain't gonna stop getting your money. Whatever you need to do, I'm with you.
Right.
And that seems to be the sentiment too among players.
Right. That's an awesome point. That's an awesome point. Yeah, you're right.
That's like a tough balance to have, you know, because everybody who, you know, everybody not gonna be a Michael Jordan or Larry Bird or Magic Johnson, like, you know what I mean? So those guys, if you just so happen to get hurt, you're gonna be compensated in those cases, right? But like you said, if you're somebody like Isaiah Thomas, the one who was playing for the Celtics, and he played hurt, and then his contract came up, and then, you know, the team didn't, you know, they didn't compensate him or didn't play fair like he played with them, you know, then, you know, players see that, you know, and they were like, man, if I'm not hurt, you know, I'm trying to make as much money as I can. But let me ask you this. All right. Now if you get that type of attitude from a player that's not like a middle of the pack type player, you know what I mean? Somebody who, you know, that they trying to extend their career because it's gonna be the only time they get to make that kind of money, right? But should somebody like a franchise ball player like LeBron or Kevin Durant, like, should they have that same approach? Do you want to see them with that same approach?
Not as long as they've been around. Maybe early in their career, but not necessarily now. But guys like that, they're gonna push through little nuance.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think KD like that.
Right.
I'm saying, but like you. Well, all right. Well, let me take KD out of it because since you said KD, what about LeBron? Do you think that LeBron James, he pushed through, and even Luka was out a couple of days for a finger injury. Right. Now, I mean, and then you had the guy Ronnie Lott had the tip of his finger amputated so he could play.
So he could still play. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that Luka should have had his hand amputated. So you know what I mean? But I'm just saying. It is a thin line, right? It's a thin line. You want your leaders to just go above and beyond. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you never hear about your franchise ball player say, my finger hurt today, I can't play.
Right. But what plays a part in it now, they're not going to get a lot of backlash, like Clay was just saying. They're not going to get a lot of backlash from the media or from teammates. They making obscene amounts of money. You know what I mean? That stardom is not necessarily going to take a hit because of it. And that's just the type of times we're in now. Whereas though, you know, you don't have to play, you know, the days of playing 82 games, man, 35, 36 minutes a game, man, they're over with, man. Especially for a superstar. They're over with, man. We ain't going back to that. You know what I'm saying? Just like we ain't going back to horse and buggy. Right. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? That ain't going back to that.
I say this, Mike, up to your point that you want your leaders to go above and beyond. I think the true leaders in the game still do that. Those that don't, they really not your leaders. I don't care how much of a superstar they are. They're not a leader.
That's
right. You understand? Like KD, he's not a leader per se. You know, I'm not putting him in a category of taking time off for you know, load management, but he's not really a leader. They keep wanting to thrust that on him. But I think true leaders in the game do that. I think this kid in Indiana is a real leader. The point guard. I think the kid OKC, I think he's a leader because he goes above and beyond. I don't think you would see those two cats load managing or doing some of this stuff. So I think it's still leaders that exist in the league, but it's not always the star player, if that makes sense.
No. That makes perfect sense. And you know, KD, I don't want to say he runs away from that, but KD never want that leader.
He don't want it.
Yeah, he said, man, I just want to show up and hoop. I just want to show up and hoop. Yeah, he never really wanted that. But let me ask you this, Clayton. Can you win if your best player or players aren't leaders?
Yeah, as long as you got a leader on the team. Okay. Absolutely. Draymond Green ain't the best player on Golden State. And whatever you think of him, he's a leader, though.
No. That's 100%. That's 100%. I agree with that. But look, I'm gonna take you up. I'm gonna take you up I-95, right? I'm gonna take you to Philly.
Well, we go to Philly.
We go to Philly, right?
Boy, I fuck with how he talk. I'm gonna take you up I-95.
So now I'm gonna talk about Embiid and to a lesser extent, Paul George.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, two guys, I wouldn't bestow that leader title. No. You know what I'm saying? Not at all, right? Even when they were in their primes, I really don't say those two guys were leaders.
Right.
They're two guys that's on the same team. They got the boy Maxey, who I'm a big fan of, like that, right? But could you win with those guys? You know what I'm saying?
If you don't have a leader, you can't win. Because you need somebody that brings the team together, hold each other accountable, and develop that mindset that we plan for each other. If you don't have that mindset, we plan for each other, as soon as adversity hits, you done. And you're going to face adversity.
He's growing to that. He's probably not that now. Ooh. He might be able to grow into that leadership role. You know what I'm saying? In a little bit. I don't think he's that now because I don't think them guys are following.
Who?
Maxey.
Oh, yeah. I don't know enough about him, but I hear you.
Yeah. I don't think they're following.
Yeah.
He's a hell of a talent. He can ball. But I just think because they're a young guy, and I just don't think. But them two guys, they grizzled veterans and everything. I don't think they'd get behind him and allow him to lead. Even though I think he may be capable of it. You know what I'm saying? I think he may be capable of it.
I don't think Maxey good enough, though. Personally, I don't think he's good enough. And I say that because if when Dwayne Wade was at Miami, and he won a championship before LeBron got there. He was a young dude, and he took on that load. Even though he had Shaq with him, didn't he? Right?
Yeah, Weasels down.
You want to bring with a Shaq?
Yeah. So he took on that scoring load. He was good enough to take on that scoring load. I don't think that Maxey can take on that scoring load and play at the other end the way Dwayne Wade did at Miami. So I don't think, like, as a player, I think he's really good, but he's not like what Dwayne Wade was at Miami.
Oh man, shit! I mean, you say that about a lot of people.
But I mean, but does he have to be to be a leader? Does he have to be that to be a leader?
Yeah, I think your leader got to be you know what I mean. Your leader on your team got to be enough to get you over the hump against the other team. When you look at all right, so look at Patrick Ewing and their team. Patrick Ewing, in my opinion, one of the best centers to ever play, but he ran up. He wasn't enough to overcome what Mike did. Then when you go to Indiana, you look at Reggie Miller, how Reggie Miller was at Indiana. And Reggie Miller, if Mike wasn't in the league, Reggie was a beast. But Reggie Miller was not enough to get past what Mike could do. You know what I mean? And those two were leaders on their team. It's just that your leader got to be enough to overcome what, you know what I mean, somebody else's leader is. The same thing.
But we go back to Golden State. Draymond not that. But he's the leader.
And I don't think Draymond is the leader.
Wow, I do.
Yeah, Draymond on Golden State, in my opinion, is what the guy who played for Chicago, or Dennis Rodman was to Chicago. Whitcomb, the dude, the kid in Golden State is a quiet leader. He's a lead by an example type leader. What's his name? Steph Curry. You see the way Steph Curry handled that situation when Kevin Durant went there, right? He wasn't threatened at all by Kevin Durant's presence. He did what was best for the team, and he allowed Kevin Durant to feel comfortable. And if you wanted to take that so-called leadership role, you know what I mean, you could do that. But he knew that he was the man on that team. So I think, like, your leader has to be the one who. That's that extra boost that'll get you over the top. That's why Shea Gilgeous-Alexander won that championship last year, because coming down the stretch when you need a basket, you need that mid-range, he was draining them. He was good enough to get you over the top of Tyrese Halliburton and whoever else they faced throughout those playoffs.
Would you say I'm doing the Draymond Dennis Rodman comparison? Would you say Draymond had more responsibilities than Dennis did?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
More responsibility.
You run your offense, like you run your offense through Draymond because Draymond physical. Draymond going like whoever's playing Steph, he gonna beat the hell out you. He gonna discourage you.
Right.
You get beat up chasing behind Steph all game long.
But he also makes those players fall in line. He also makes those players play for each other, stuff like that. That's all I'm saying in terms of a leader. A leader sets the culture. Now, the best player can be that, and in a lot of cases it is that, but the true leader sets the culture.
But you don't necessarily have to be, because everywhere Kevin Durant, I'm riding with you on this though, Clayton, because everywhere Kevin Durant been, he been the best player.
Yes.
He ain't necessarily was the leader.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Necessarily, and that's just a role he ain't want to embrace. He ain't want it. He ain't want with all goes with it.
Outside of Steph Curry, that's why he has not won a ring.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Outside of Golden State, he hasn't won a ring because he never accept that role and that responsibility of being the one to push his team over the top. Now,
I think that's unfair though, because I think if he didn't step on the line when they played Milwaukee that year, I think they get there, Mike, and I think they win it all.
That might have been, but he been in the league for almost 20 years. That was only one play.
Yeah, I'm just saying though. And then he took Oklahoma City. They went to the finals and lost to LeBron and them. So I don't think that's fair, really.
I mean, I'm just going about what. Go ahead.
If he was more, I think they was young. So you know what I mean. But I think if he was more of a leader, I think he'd have won more. I think he would. But you never know.
I mean,
well, y'all know
your record just. It averages out. Your record just tell what you are. You know what I mean? Like if you're a 4-4 team, your record.
The team. Yeah.
You're a 4-4 team. Your record.
But look, right? Man always gets on KD, right? Man don't give him any kind of slack, right? Man gets on him, right? And I think KD gets a pass in a sense where any other superstar would get raked over the coals for saying, I don't want to be the leader. I just want to hoop. I mean, I ain't just talking about today's superstar. I'm talking about if you just go back in history. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of teams, if Mike say, man, I don't want to be a leader, I just want to hoop. You know what I mean? If Magic say, I don't want to be a leader, I just want to hoop. If Bird said it, if Isaiah said it, I mean, you can go down the list. Whereas though KD don't necessarily get held, and that's why you always say, or you was just saying, Mike, how your image and how someone else controls the narrative when it comes to your career.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They think they do.
Let's talk about that, right? But first, I want to Lord Basketball Fantastic said good point on the next contract situation, right?
Right.
Yeah, he agree with you on that, right? So, but let's talk about that, right? We never talk about like what maybe like Kevin Durant had a reason for feeling the way he felt, right? When we watched Kevin Durant come from Texas, and you watch like how this dude could score on anybody at any time, right? Yep. And you come to the NBA, and at a certain point in time, people was talking about Kevin Durant was, they was looking at him as being the best basketball player in the NBA, right? Mm-hmm. And so the NBA, he might have felt discouraged because he seen them pushing LeBron instead of him. And, he loved the game, and he might think, all right, well, basketball is not all about the talent because stars are chosen, you know what I mean? Not born. Stars are chosen, they're made and not born. So he might have felt discouraged, in my opinion. That could be a reason why he felt the way, he just was like, I'm just going to hoop, man. This is political. Basically, this is all political.
I also think he's a person that's always pushed back against narratives. And you said it in the beginning that, the media thinks that they can control your narrative. So maybe him declining this whole I'm the leader thing is a narrative, a media narrative that's been created. That if you're the best player, whatever, you automatically have to be the leader. And maybe that's his attempt to push back against that narrative, saying that's not necessarily the case. You know, leadership comes in all forms.
Right. No. That could be. You know what I'm saying? And Durant comes across as a calculated guy. You know what I'm saying? He comes across as a calculated guy, right? So yeah, it could be that. Like I'm just going. You know what I mean? Anti-establishment. You know, when it comes to that, yeah, I ain't with that. I'm not going to buy into that.
And think about this. That's probably what made him want to play with Kyrie. You know what I mean? Like when him and Kyrie, I think they play in the where they play in the Olympics or Summer League or something somewhere together.
They linked up,
yeah. And then so they wanted to play together because I think those two guys are like-minded. You know what I mean? When it comes to certain things. So you know, I was like, you know, we always push back on Kevin Durant for not wanting to be, you know, he not wanted to take that mantle, but he was like, man, it's all political. No matter what I do in the league, they're gonna push this other guy in front of me. So I'm just gonna go ahead. I love basketball, you know, because sometimes when people realize that basketball is a business, that kind of turn them off. You know what I mean? To at least the business side of it, you know. You playing?
It's definitely a wake up call in some cases. It's definitely a wake up call to a lot of play. You know, about the business part of it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And listen, going back to him winning more, I'll still say this till I die. To win a title, you have to be on a great team. Just that simple.
Yeah. So look, and that's all right. So let's talk about this because I heard they was talking about the kid. Y'all like this kid. What's the kid that's in Charlotte? Ball. Which Ball boy is?
I love the young one.
LaMelo.
Yeah, LaMelo. I love him. Yeah.
So Kendrick Perkins and Richard Jefferson was arguing. Kendrick Perkins said you take Melo out of Charlotte and you put him in a big market team, he'll be more successful. And Richard Jefferson, and I agree with Richard Jefferson, said that's not necessarily true. You know, he is what he is. You know, like if whatever he is in Charlotte, he will be the same thing like in Chicago or New York. He don't need a bigger market team. You know, there's some other things he need to do to improve his game. What y'all think about that? Y'all think he'll be more successful in a bigger market?
I wouldn't say a bigger market because bigger markets don't mean it's a great team in that big market.
Right.
I would say you put him on a better team, he'd be more successful. I mean, that's any player.
Right.
Yeah. That's any player. Yeah.
Me and my son had this discussion about LaMelo too yesterday. You know, and I say, man, I have seen maybe like one whole game with him, you know, him playing and stuff, right? The rest is just highlights. Right? Whatever style of play he plays, he's fun to watch.
He's fun to watch.
Man. I mean, real flashy, man. You know what I mean? He played real nonchalant, like he just out there in the park, man. I say, but however he's playing, it's not conducive to winning, right? So some of that you got to put on the front office, like why they're not trying to surround him because he's your best player. Why they not trying to surround him with pieces, you know what I mean, to make them better, right? With a talent like that, he's not athletic as he is. He like 6'7", 6'8". He don't play no defense for me. You know what I'm saying? He don't play no defense, man. It's like he's waiting for the ball almost. You know, let a guy run right past him. You know what I mean? Don't even try to get no blocks, nothing. Hands ain't never up on jump shots. It's like, man, just get it and give it to me.
Now, he will play the passing lane here and there. He will play the passing lane. You're right about that.
Let me ask y'all this.
All sample size, but
right.
If you take Tyrese Halliburton and you put them on that team that he's on now, and you swap him out for Indiana, what you think gonna happen?
Indiana got a good coach. They got a good coach up there. They got a good team.
They got a good coach.
You think his style of play is going to mesh well with Indiana Pacers?
I think the coach, if the Indiana Pacers decide to make a move on LaMelo, that means they see something there that they can merge with what they have. I give that organization some credit too. And I think the coach will make it work. I do.
I don't think he'd be as, he in Charlotte, he got the green light. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't think that green light, I don't think he had that in the Yeah, I think it'd be more, dialed back a little bit. He'd be more structured. It'd be more structured offense, more structured. Yeah, but
and one thing about that kid, he loves to pass the basketball. He loves it.
LaMelo, you talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
He loves to pass the basketball. So I don't know. And I don't think they can get anybody down in Charlotte, not because of him, it's because it's where it's at. It's in Charlotte. Free agents don't want to go there.
See, that's what it seemed like, man. It seemed like, it's tough to get the free agents. You always got to build from the draft.
Yep.
And we all know drafts hit and miss. You know what I'm saying? We all know draft hit and miss.
Yeah.
I just think his style of play is more flash and it's more
it is.
It's good. It's aesthetically it's good, but it's not conducive to winning though.
Right. And that's what I said. It's not necessarily conducive to winning right now. So because that dude, you look at his numbers, he averaged what 25 and 8, last year or something like that. The numbers was crazy. 24 and 8, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, why come Magic was flashy and his was conducive to winning?
Because Magic made other players around him better. You know what I mean? Like this kid right here, it's every time you see a highlight, most of the time you see a highlight is of him stepping back and shooting a three, or him just, it's not conducive for winning.
The Lakers did have Hall of Famers playing with Magic, so
ain't no question.
Well, you
know what I'm saying? I'm not saying Magic ain't that dude. I'm just saying that, saying that he made those guys better. I think he complimented those guys. He complimented what was there.
Who complimented Magic?
Magic complimented what was there.
Yeah, and then you got to go, Magic coming off winning in college as well.
Yeah.
The coach, Judge, coach, you know what I'm saying, all-time, the Hall of Fame coach and stuff that he learned nuances of the game from and things like that. All that matters. You know what I'm saying? All that matters, as far as LaMelo. Because he went overseas for a year because he ain't go to college. He went overseas for a year and then came into the league or something like that. And I
think he won overseas too, though.
Yeah. He won when he was overseas. Yeah.
I think he did.
Did he stay overseas more than 1 year?
Yeah, I think because something happened in high school where his father just went bypassed it, and they sent him pro overseas.
And I think he was over there more than 1 year.
He was. He was.
Yeah, I think he was over there more than 1 year till he came in and got drafted. But what you learned along the way, what I'm saying, what you pick up, on your path to the NBA, a lot of that stuff matters. And, if you're going to retain a lot of that stuff.
And what you do is you build a team around certain players' deficiencies. So, in other words, what I'm lacking in, it's a guy on the team that's strong in that area. So, you try to complement the talent.
That's right.
So, because he don't play good defense, but he plays passing lane. I'd say this out of his own mouth. I've been watching him on his interview tours with his book. I didn't play great defense. I played the passing lane. So I could gamble because I had Radcliffe and then I had Mutombo. These guys did well what I didn't do well. So I think with a LaMelo, it ain't about his style not being conducive. It's about building the right pieces around him. And I think,
how much time you got, Clayton, like if you Charlotte, right, with LaMelo, right? Do you think they're trying to
that's what I'm saying. All organizations aren't made equal. All GMs aren't made equal.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if Charlotte's capable of building a championship team. That's all I'm saying.
Well, because the agents coming, so they got to hit on the draft.
Yeah. And then they got to develop. They got to put the right pieces together. So that's why you got these organizations that stand out. Like the Celtics, like the Lakers, like what's going on at OKC now, what's going on in Indiana. These organizations stand out. Like Jerry West. Jerry West was excellent at that, putting pieces together to complement. Whatever we think about Jerry Krause, but he brought in pieces to complement what was. So you got to be able to do that, in my opinion.
Pat Riley down in Miami, you know what I mean?
Pat Riley,
That's right.
Yeah, you got to be able to do that, man. Yeah.
I also think that your franchise ball player, your superstar ball player, got to be almost like a Swiss Army knife too. And by that I mean, in most cases, like in most cases, they are not one-dimensional ball players. Like you know, like Bird, you know, like Bird can do more than just shoot and did more than just, you know, he could play the point, he could play the forward. You know, Magic, he played center in that first year. You know what I mean? When they won that championship, Magic played center. What was the guy? I just talked about Dwayne Wade, right? Dwayne Wade was versatile because, you know, he could do a lot of different things. If you take something away from him at one end, he could do something at the other end. So you got to be a player that has that type of versatility to you.
Well, let me ask you about Steph Curry.
Right, yeah, and then see, that's what I was saying. Steph Curry and what's Isaiah were limited, right?
Yes.
Because Isaiah is a strictly offensive ball player. Yes. Defensively, you know, he probably more so like Allen Iverson, opportunity. You know, he get those opportunity type steals. Yeah. Steph Curry, in my opinion, is like the exception to that rule. You know, but when you look at everybody who won like multiple championships, most people that win multiple championships, their star player can do more than just one thing. I don't know what else Steph Curry do besides shoot. You know what I mean? Like defensively, he's solid. He a lot better on defense than he used to be.
Yeah. In my
opinion, he don't even get like steals like Isaiah and what Allen Iverson did, right? He's
bigger than both of them guys. And he's bigger than both of them guys. Yeah.
He's not as fast as either one of those guys either.
Right. So to me, Golden State did an extremely excellent job at putting a team together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love Steph Curry, though. Don't get me wrong. I'm just
I mean, but I just think that Steph Curry situation, in my opinion, like he is the exception to that rule.
Yeah.
Most people can bring, you know, like because if you think about it, with your star basketball player, if all he can do is shoot the jumper like Reggie Miller, then you know not to give Reggie Miller that jumper. You know what I mean? Like what else Reggie Miller brought to the table besides he wasn't a great passer. You know what I mean? His defense was he
played good D. He played good D.
Okay in defense.
He played good D.
He was 6'7" and long, so
he played good D.
He was solid. He was solid.
Yeah. And Indiana did go to the finals with him.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
they just lost. Yeah.
As their leader, you know what I'm saying? He went to the finals and he was the leader. Yeah, that's true.
Let me see. Lord Basketball Fantastic says that Draymond had too much power on that team. What y'all feel about that? Y'all think Draymond had too much power on Golden State?
I agree.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, it worked for them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say the same.
I cannot dispute it. What they got, 4 championships or 5?
Well, but both things can be true.
Both things can be true.
It works, and he got too much power. Yeah, but
I agree. I think because I mean, I think just like you know, I thought that the Bulls let Dennis Rodman get away with probably too much more than what he should have got away with. You know what I mean? But it worked for him.
You gotta That's what I loved about Phil Jackson. He knew how to push the buttons, and he knew how to develop relationships with the players. That's how you get the best out of players. You got to kind of let them have something so they can give you their all. You know what I mean? It's like you don't want to stifle somebody too much because they ain't gonna want to play for you. Yeah,
it always came to me with Phil Jackson is that he didn't let his ego
at all,
and you get in the way of the ultimate goal, which was winning. You know what I'm saying? He didn't let I'm the one in charge. I'm the one calling the shots. He never let that interfere.
None of that.
With winning. And I think it's because when Phil Jackson played, he was sort of like the, you know what I'm saying, the outlier. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was the one that was, you know what I mean, the quirky one. The one
he was a hippie, man. He was a hippie. That's what he was.
That's right, Clayton. You're right.
Yep. He was a flower child. Yeah.
So he ain't have a problem with somebody not, you know what I mean, being in lockstep with all the other players all the time. You know, he have a problem with it because, like you say, his career, he was the same way. So
And that's where him and Dennis Rodman had a bond, because they both had ties to Indian reservations and spiritual stuff in terms of Indians. That's where they connected at.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right. So, you know, when Michael Jordan, the best player on the planet at the time, said, man, we got to go to Vegas and get this guy, man. You know what I mean? Because if we don't, he ain't coming back. You know what I'm saying? We got to go get this guy. Now, this is a thing where with Mike that I admire about. Mike knew he was the best player on the team. Mike knew, you know what I'm saying, best player in the world. But he knew they needed Dennis to win.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He knew we can't win without this guy. So look, we gotta go get him. You know what I'm saying? We gotta go get him and say, man, come on, you gotta come back. You know what I'm saying? So
that final run, Scotty was rebelling. He sat out early because he didn't get his contract. Mike and Dennis took over. Dennis had the rebounds. Mike had everything else, and they went on a run. He knew that he needed Dennis big time, more than he needed Scotty. To be honest with you.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
I mean, Scotty was needed, but I'm just saying.
How many? I ain't even gonna say superstars, because Mike, you know what I mean, was a notch above a superstar. But how many superstars would say, "Oh man, we don't need him, man"? You know what I'm saying? As long as I'm here, we good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We good. You can't sacrifice winning. Bill Russell told that to Shaq. You don't sacrifice winning for nothing. You know what I'm saying? You don't sacrifice winning. So Mike, like, no, I gotta go get this guy.
Gotta go get him.
Win. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to win. You know?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, that is, ain't it? That is.
Yeah.
And you know, some coaches like, nah, you know, some coaches wouldn't even allow Dennis to go. You know what I mean? Feel like, yeah, you can go, I don't care. But you know, other coaches would have been like, nah, you can't do this. And then if Dennis would have went, oh, we just gonna suspend him for the next game and fine him or whatever. Mike like, no, damn that. We go. Mike like, no, we gonna get him.
And another thing, Phil Jackson wasn't. He wasn't. I gotta win my way. It's got to be exactly this way. He wasn't locked in on that kind of mentality. Yeah, they had a system, triangle, but he understood, you know, the players and certain things they needed to do, let them have leeway, stuff like that. Where some coaches, it was all about, you know, you have to do every single thing this way. I need you here practice at this time. I need you doing this at this time. It was so strict, you know. And
they say, Pat Riley, who I think is the greatest coach ever. You know, I mean, that's just my opinion. But
Pat Riley?
Yeah, that's why they say Pat Riley message got old with the Lakers, right? Because they say the message, it was like, all right, we kind of heard this before, Pat. You know, if we miss a free throw, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? The family pet gonna die or something like that. Or, you know what I mean? We done heard this before, man. It's not that serious, Pat. We done been through these wars before, man. You know, but Pat Riley with the 4-hour practices, like you talk about, Clay, you know what I mean? With the 4-hour practices and everything in the middle of the season. It's like, Pat, man, we've been doing this for 8-10 years, man. Yeah, you know. And they say his message got a little old, and with the Lakers, that's why you know moved on and went to the Knicks, you know. But I always like Pat Riley, man, and just little stuff because he took that running team in LA, man, and then went to the Knicks, man, and you know they was like just a walking up the court type team. He didn't, like you just said, Clayton, like we only can win this way, so he didn't come to the Knicks. And like, all right, we got a running gun, you know what I'm saying? Like I did in LA, you know. So,
but one thing Pat was always about, even in LA, was defense. Defense started to break. Yeah.
But they never even talk about how the Lakers played D. They, you know, they talk about with the Knicks, of course, but they never talk about how LA.
The Lakers played D.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Let me ask y'all then, like, in your opinion, like, who do y'all think is the best NBA coach of all time in your opinion? Then
I can't call that.
In my opinion, I say Pat Riley. And I think Pat Riley because how he was able to use the bigs, and that's the era that he coached in with big men with Kareem and with Patrick. And the thing was with Kareem, if y'all remember, you know, Kareem never used to be on the block when the opposite team shot free throws. Did y'all ever know that?
Yeah.
What was going on?
Yeah, he would never be like on the lane. You know, when the opposite team would shoot free throws, Kareem would always be in what's the name, in the front court. He always would be back, like defending his basket. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I always ask, like, why is that, right? Why he the big, he should be down there and get a rebound. And my father told me save him trips. He said, because you know, the big is going baseline to baseline. Right. He's the only one that's going to full, 94 feet. You know what I'm saying? Baseline to baseline. So he said, if you send him back there, that's saving him a trip.
Yeah.
And then Lakers run. So Kareem will get the ball, you know, make the outlet pass, and Magic and them run down, whatever. If they score, he wouldn't even cross half court. You know what I'm saying? But if you know, if didn't them come out of it, he like, all right, then they wait for him.
He make his way down.
Right. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And that saved miles on your big. Yeah. That saved miles on your big in the long run over the course of a season, over the course of a year or two, things like that. So I always like how he did that as far as how he coached his bigs and how he challenged his best players, because he challenged Magic. He challenged Magic. When Magic was playing out about to play Detroit, he told Magic, like, look, what's more important, friendship or winning? You know what I mean? What's more important to you, being friends or winning? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he challenged Magic, man. So I thought Pat Riley was.
And he told Kareem that Magic gonna get some of your shots too.
Right. He sure did.
Yeah.
Because Magic say, man, you talk to Kareem about that.
You go talk to Kareem about that. You talk to Kareem about
that. You're right. You're right. Yeah.
You see, Shorty Nose says, I like Larry Brown. I like Larry Brown too. And Larry Brown, in my opinion, I ain't really appreciate Larry Brown until I got a little bit older and started to understand, you know, some things about basketball and stuff. But yeah, I like Larry Brown was a really good coach too.
Larry Brown to me, Larry Brown to me seemed like he was better at coaching a team without a superstar. It seemed like if he had a superstar, because Larry Brown was the type that wanted to treat everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I don't have a problem with that, but we all know that the superstar is going to get treated different. Mm-hmm. My number one example of that was Jimmy Johnson, that used to coach the Cowboys. He would tell you, I'm going to treat every single last one of y'all different. You know what I'm saying? Say the third string quarterback fall asleep in the meeting, I'm going to cut him. Dan Marino fall asleep in the meeting, I'm going to wake him up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you're not treating everybody the same. Yeah, you know, Clayton used this word before. The cliche is, oh man, everybody get treated the same. No, but everybody's the same. But it's not true. Mm-hmm. You think Jerry Rice got treated the same as a practice squad receiver? You think Jerry Rice got treated the same as number 4 receiver on it? Come on, man. It don't even make sense.
Ronaldo, you remember Ronaldo Skeets Nehemiah?
Yep. Yeah. Wide receiver.
Yeah, I remember. Right. You know him and Jerry Rice got treated. You see the work that Jerry Rice put in. You think a guy that's coming late to practice, you think a guy showing up, he leaving as soon as practice over, Jerry Rice out there still running a route tree for another 2 hours. You think they're going to get treated the same? It's not. It's bad. So
I ask you this then. Who do you think would have been better at coaching a superstar player, Larry Brown or the guy from Indiana? What's the coach from Indiana, Isaiah's guy?
Bobby Knight?
Bobby Knight.
Bobby Knight.
Who do you think would have been,
Bobby Knight.
Yeah,
Bobby Knight.
Yeah, I can't call it. I don't know. To me, it depends on the temperament of the player. You know, Isaiah embraced it. You know, Jordan even didn't have a problem during the Olympics.
Right.
But I can't say. Yeah, I can't say though, because the temperament of the player. See, you know what I mean? Some players don't want to be. Some superstars don't want to be treated special,
and
because they understand that they need all 12 guys.
That's right, Clayton. And then some superstars, because my pop always said, there's always been treated special. So when you're getting treated and you being coached hard, you don't respond the same. Nope. You don't respond the same because you're so used to being treated special.
Yep.
Like you say, Clayton, it all has to do with that play. It all has to do with that play. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Bobby Knight could coach somebody like Michael Jordan. I think he probably could have coached Allen Iverson. He coached, he coached Isaiah.
Yep.
I think, but Bobby Knight just was a wild dude, though, man.
He was, man. He was, man. And see,
he was.
If he was in your corner, he was in your corner, though.
Yes, he was. Yep.
Right. And that's another thing. That's another layer of it. He cut Barkley right off that Olympic team, right? And Barkley ain't like him. Barkley, so but it's levels, right? Now we just mentioned Jordan. We just mentioned Isaiah, right? You talk about two all-time greats who have won.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? On every level. You know what I'm saying? They won in high school, college, and NBA, right? Charles Barkley hasn't. But he had a problem with Bobby Knight. Now you can say because of his mentality, just like Clayton said, is his mentality why he had a problem with Bobby Knight, whereas though Isaiah and Mike, not saying they have a problem, but they could push past that. They could push past that and see the bigger picture where maybe you could say Charles Barkley couldn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why two guys are winners and one guy isn't. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I just thought that was an interesting question. Because Bobby Knight, like I said, he coached Isaiah.
Right.
And,
right. And
I don't think Isaiah was an easy kid to coach, either coming from where he came from. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You see, the thing was, right, the little bit of history I got on Isaiah and stuff like that. His mom was pushing him to go to with Bobby Knight. His mom was put like, no, you gonna go there because Isaiah was highly recruited and stuff. And when Bobby Knight came over for the visit, you know what I mean? Bobby Knight and one of Isaiah's brothers was about to fight.
They about to throw. Yeah.
They about to get the fighting and stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? So they was like that. So he said his mom was impressed.
His mother respected that.
His mom was impressed with that, man. And they say the fight started. The argument started. They didn't fight, but the argument started. One of Isaiah's brothers like, man, well, what you gonna do? Because the Klan had a big presence in the state of Indiana at the time or whatever. He said, well, man, what you gonna do, man, to protect? You know what I'm saying? My brother, they call Isaiah something. I don't know if it was Junior or something. They say, what you gonna do to protect them? You know what I'm saying? At the time, you got all them Klansmen up there, and Bobby Knight said, well, man, if we winning, you ain't got to worry about nothing. You know Not worry about nothing. So that's when the argument started, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is crazy, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's crazy though.
Yeah, because what's the name, man? They lived in the projects in Chicago, man. Isaiah lived in the projects in Chicago, man. So it's like, man, hey, if we winning, you ain't got to worry about the Klan.
I know his bro was like, what the hell kind of answer is that?
Right. And back then, after they call it going hardship. They call it going hardship, leaving. Back then, you had to get a